Michigan hockey fans, are you ready to brave the wild with me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan? Brave the Wild is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. Really appreciate one and all of you for downloading and listening to the show. Again, also Brave the Wild is available on the Hockey Podcast Network. Really thrilled to be a part of that. It is a great pleasure to be back aboard once again today. Snowing outside, at least in this part of the woods, in this neck of the woods here in Golden Valley, Minnesota. But the Minnesota Wild kind of getting a little streaky lately, but I guess a winning streak is better than a losing streak. They go from 3 losses in a row now to 3 wins in a row. 3 games, 3 wins. We'll certainly take it. 3 wins is a hell of a lot better than 3 losses. And yeah, against some pretty good teams too. Well, kind of. Being able to go into Washington and win 4-2, I thought very impressive. New York Islanders win, obviously great goaltending there. And Arizona was not the prettiest game, but at least the Wild kept them off the board. That's good. In a way, 2-1 is a better win than like 6-5 versus Arizona. It'd be kind of goofy and frustrating. Yet at the same time, I suppose, it's nice to see people's stats go up and all that, since we all care about stats everywhere we go, and analytic this and stats that, and I'm a genius about that. So there's always fun numbers that people like to display because they're so smart, but we're happy for them. Beating the New York Islanders, obviously great, considering both of the New York teams have outstanding goaltenders, but it looks like the Minnesota Wild have outstanding goaltenders as well. It really does. Get on the bus. Get on the Gus Bus. There's no reason to not want to get on there. Like I said before, he's playing like an all-star, and of course that's one of the numbers that's got a lot of people excited, like the numbers that Gus has basically had pretty much since the beginning of the season. He has been pretty doggone crazy good. You get the win versus the New York Islanders 3-1, 2-1 versus the whoever they're called, the Arizona Coyotes, right? And then the Washington Capitals, a 4-2 victory. Looked like the Wild were going to lose that one. Wild might have had a chance to lose this Islanders game, getting shut out forever and ever, but then 3 goals in a row, including the empty netter from Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov. Sorokin's an outstanding goaltender, facing 33 shots. Save percentage of .943. Gustavsson only faced 20, but still, again, good play in front of him, but also making the stops, and that's what matters most regarding the Minnesota Wild. On the season, now this is just on the season, including like the not-so-great start. 11-6, there was an overtime loss, and then a goals against average of 2.16, save percentage of .926. Again, you got the shutout recently. But then again, when you get into the splits, it's just like, holy cow, like the season splits month by month. See, because back in October, he played in 3 games, did Gustavsson. Goals against average just under 4, save percentage about 88. But ever since then, it's just been insane. Less than 2. November, 1.96, save percentage 93.3. December, 5. He was 3-1 in November, 5-1 in December, 1.98, save percentage right about 93. January so far, 3-1, save percentage of 1.54. What am I saying? Goals against average of 1.54 and save percentage just under 95. So, absolutely nuts. Get on the bus, folks. Get on the bus. Get on the bus. And the Minnesota Wild need to get on the bus. They also signed Matt Boldy to a 7-year, $7 million per contract. Average annual value. AAV, as they say, $49 million. A lot of people very excited about this one. Of course, again, at first it's like, well, it might be a little bit high right now. Gosh, he hasn't done that much. But again, it's a projection type of thing. The other pit of your stomach, or that, like, in your throat, like your tightness in your throat feeling as well. Isn't that what Kevin Fiala wanted, this and that? But yeah, there's no way you could have kept both of them. That's the sad truth of it all. So nice to have Boldy at age 21 moving forward, going from about 880,000, or 881 really, just under that. Everything's just under this and just under that, isn't it? Have you ever noticed? But yeah, Boldy becomes the 3rd highest paid player on the Minnesota Wild now. Kirill Kaprizov making $9 million a year. A lot of people think that's actually a bargain, and it kind of is, considering when you're a 100-point type of player. Spurgeon's the 2nd highest paid player. He's the captain, and he's showing great skill this year. And knock on wood, I don't want to say it. Knock on wood, you know what the words are, so I'll be quiet. Yeah, he's been playing well though. 33 already. Kind of sad to think about, but I suppose he has been here quite a while. Emerging right at the beginning of the 2010s, pretty much, with Minnesota. after being drafted and kind of left left by the wayside by the New York Islanders' former 6th-round pick, was Jared Spurgeon. 7.5 basically. A little over that, of course. 7.575 basically is what Spurgeon's making. And he has, 4 years remaining after this year. Unrestricted free agent in 27-28. Unfortunately, he'll be quite old by then, so who knows? Maybe he hangs it up or he signs like a very short, inexpensive contract at that stage. Matt Boldy signed through, was it 28-29, right? No, 29-30. Matt Boldy has the longest contract remaining, and the second longest is Joel Eriksson Ek, 28-29. He's got quite a few years remaining as well. Joel Eriksson Ek is pretty much a bargain considering how well he's played. He's about a 60-point player right now. Boldy is right around there, like low 50 or upper 50s, low 60s. That's where he's projected at the moment. But obviously, there's a pretty good chance with another playmaker on the same line, which he does not have at the moment. Obviously, in the Fiala time last year, there was a ton of potential with Boldy and Fiala. There truly was. Unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to last because of the salary cap situation. Just imagine if we could keep both. What a beautiful thing it would be. But, I mean, what are you going to do? You got a dead cap of $12 million, $13 million basically, and then almost $15 million for 2 more years coming up. And then finally, by 25-26, 1.6 for 3 years in a row, basically. So, yeah, I mean, that's not going to kill your team. But 13 and 15ish. That's pretty high. So it is what it is. That's like Connor McDavid money. Like you could almost say, you could have Connor McDavid on the team at that cap price. But well, yeah, that's how that goes. Gustavsson, who knows? How much are we going to sign Gustavsson for? Got Marc-Andre Fleury coming back at 3.5. Gustavsson is under 800,000 at the moment. So we'll see. And Kalen Addison, it's like, yes, Kalen Addison's here. Now we're really seeing what he can do. Restricted free agent. Really? It's like, it's so dang fast. It's like, he just got here like 5 minutes ago. Have mercy. Just like Kirill Kaprizov. Kirill Kaprizov, wow, so excited. He's going to, but now we got to sign him. It's like, come on. But welcome to hockey. Sam Steele, Brandon Duhaime, Mason Shaw. People already saying Mason Shaw is probably the odd man out potentially as things go forward because prospects are going to come in and you might want to upgrade in the, the top 6, of course. You probably do because, well, it's like, hello. Obviously, again, Matt Boldy's kind of on an island on the second line. Kind of, sort of. That might be annoying for some people to hear, but I think he's on an island. Frederick Goudreau, I don't know. We'll get to that later. I'm kind of going off into free agency and such. We'll probably get deeper into that off and on, and maybe depending on your questions in the questions and comments in the fan interaction segment. I don't know whether I'm tired or hyper right now. That's what happens when you have no damn sun. It's like, maybe you're overcompensating with something you shouldn't be having, like too much caffeine. I don't know. It took forever for the Wild to score, and, well, understandable when you consider how good Sorokin truly is. But luckily, the Minnesota Wild's goaltender that I've just talked about for about 10 minutes here, off and on, Gustafsson, ain't too shabby either. I had this feeling when he came, but then it's like that weak start to the season. Everybody's like, yeah, see, told you, he's just a guy. He's like kind of like a 2A, like a 2A goalie. He could be in the AHL, he could be in the NHL. He's one of those kind of guys. It looks like an all-star right now. Frederick Goudreau was able to get a shorthanded goal that somehow, some way got past Sorokin. That was a tough one, but it was a goal. It was kind of hanging around, but it did count. It did cross over, basically over the plane, as you could say. That's more of a football term, but it was in the air. It was in the air, so you had to have the bird's eye view for that one. Sam Steele's 8th goal of the season. What a nifty pass by Mats Zuccarello. Oh, I mean, it's just stuff like that, just the patience, the timing, all that. It was all perfect. And people talking about, and I've been thinking this for a while as well, Mats Zuccarello is like the classic center, even though he's obviously a wing, but he plays like a center back in the good old days, like the Gretzky days, back in the 80s, back in the 80s, Steve Yzerman and Gretzky, when they were young, anyway, because they played until the end of the 90s. Yzerman went even further, of course, because he's a little younger. But yeah, kind of like those types of guys, particularly in the 1980s. And you know what? I love the 1980s. I love everything about it. I mean, 80s hockey was good. It was fun. Tell me, do you really think 80s hockey is a bad thing? I thought it was pretty fun, honestly. Current hockey's fine. Guys are skating all over the place. It's beautiful. So there's nothing bad about it. It's improved compared to like 20 years ago, and it was just like a grind fest. It was just like muck it up and boom, knocking guys into the wall, and then it was like clutch and grab. That got ridiculous. Neutral zone trap, which was okay. It was fine. And last week I called it neutral zone crap. Not because the Wild played a good neutral zone trap or that it's boring or anything, but because they sucked in the neutral zone last week. There were a lot of mistakes, and I feel like the Wild cleaned up a lot of that. Nobody's perfect. You're going to see turnovers. I mean, goals are going to happen for both teams. Somebody has to make a mistake oftentimes for a goal to happen, right? But as long as it's not a blatant, like, what the hell was that type of mistake? That's kind of the difference here when you're going forward. I mean, it's like guys like tripping over themselves or something. I don't know. Or just making him look like a wimp out there. Like, it was funny how Boldy had a kind of a crappy week, and then there's always something funny. Like, oh, this guy, oh God, he was terrible this week, and and then he's like awesome the next week. Boldy just didn't have a good week last week, and there's 7 years, 7 million. All right, 7 million per. It's like, all right, there you go. There's always something. There's always like a string attached whenever I give a guy a James Shepard in this show, a Johnny Flynn in Timberwolves Explosion, or a Christian Potter Memorial in Purple Mafia. So you can probably, those are probably familiar names for you if you care about those teams. Even if you don't care about those teams, they still might be familiar names for you. They're huge disappointments. Anyhow, January 14th, heading into the middle of January already, Wild Card Weekend. Yeah, Wild Card Weekend. Yeah, it was really wild for us, wasn't it? Just wonderful. Great. Well, the Wild beat Arizona 2-1. Again, kind of felt like 2001 here. 2001, 2003 hockey. It's okay. It's okay. It wasn't exciting. And Arizona's kind of meh, but I love the uniforms. A lot of teams throughout the NHL this year and in the NBA have brought up a lot of their obnoxious rebrands that I don't like. Like, say, Buffalo. I was really looking forward to seeing the Sabres, the Sabres current, where it's like retro modern look, that I like. I like retro modern. I like retro the most, but retro modern's okay, where it's like you're sticking to the roots, but maybe it's slightly modernized a little bit. But you're sticking to the roots. You're not with this complete rebrand, different colors and completely different look. And then they frickin' brought those Buffalo Sabres jerseys out from the late '90s look, and it's just like I like the early 90s, man, and 80s look with the Buffalo Sabres. And, the New York Islanders, like, oh, the Islanders, those are the coolest uniforms ever. No, now they're not. Now they're wearing those funky ones from, like, was it the early 2000s, I think it was, about, again, 20 years ago. I mean, they're okay, but, yeah. And then the NBA, you got the Detroit Pistons with the teal jerseys. What are you doing? Yuck. Get out of here. Forget the Warriors. I don't care what they wear. As long as they lose, I'm happy. But back to hockey. God, I'm really sorry. But Arizona wearing their originals, they look awesome. That was the whole point. That's what triggered that. So I apologize. Marc-Andre Fleury did face 28 shots, and it almost felt like Arizona kind of almost outplayed us a little bit in this game. It wasn't a good game, really, but the Wild survived it because Marc-Andre Fleury was really good. Marc-Andre Fleury was really good. It's amazing how good of a team you are when your goalies play well. And you have two goalies that are playing well. And it's kind of a rotation, even though it's not officially been called that. They're refusing to call it that, basically. The Dean Evasons, the Bill Guerins. But it has been kind of back and forth, which, you know what? It's like the best thing ever. Isn't it the best? It's like, it's this goalie tonight, that goalie tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, but the next game. Especially if it's tomorrow, it better be the other goalie. I can't believe anybody would have a goalie on a back-to-back of the same goalie unless there's some kind of emergency situation. You don't want to put your third-string goalie in there, or fourth-string goalie against the, Buffalo Sabres, because they have the best offense in the NHL, that kind of thing. It's wonderful. Then you don't have to worry about Marc-Andre Fleury burning out. You don't have to worry about Gustavsson burning out. It's the best ever. Like Dubnyk would burn out. Here comes March. Dubnyk, December, January. Oh, my God, he's won 10 in a row. We're going to win the Stanley Cup for sure now. February, he's not that good now. And then March, What the hell's up with Dubnik? April. Well, it was a nice season, guys. Cool. Huh, it was fun. I mean, it was a nice memory. We just lost 4-1 to the St. Louis Blues or whatever, that kind of crap. There I go again. Sorry. But that's what kind of game this was. Freddie Gaudreau, another goal. Good for him. Zuccarello, again, finishing on his. Great pass from Kirill Kaprizov from the side there. Steal, of course, including on that one. It wasn't the most exciting game ever, but it is what it is. Kalen Addison inching in another assist. Hartman, I don't know. He's another one of those guys you barely notice. And it's like, he's a bargain, though. 1.7. That's true, but... I don't know. Can we do better? I think so. It's just the price tag is what's so tempting. But I suppose Hartman can be on the bottom 6, and that's probably where he should be. I think top 6 for Ryan Hartman is kind of like not going to happen anymore. And then guys like Greenway, again, yes, he got left out of the lineup about a week ago because he'd been late and all that, and it seems like his behavior with that has not been good. And he's avoiding the reporters and all that. It's not against the law to avoid reporters, but it's a bad look. And Greenway, generally speaking, there's just not a lot of positive things to say about him right now, other than oh boy, you can't break up that line, the grief line. Yeah, it's a great line. It's a great line, and he is on that line, and he's kind of integral to it. But we do have a possible replacement going forward who might actually maybe be able to contribute more if he's not in the box every 10 seconds or injured, just like Greenway with the injured part, and that's Brandon DeHame. And then that can open up a spot for the next guy, but possibly maybe for Mason Shaw, because then Mason Shaw won't have to get scratched all the time, but at the same time, he hasn't been all that impressive either, unfortunately. And I like Mason Shaw, but I don't know. If I had a choice between Brandon DeHame, I'd pick I'd pick Brandon DeHame. And if I had a choice between DeWer and Mason Shaw, I'd pick Brandon DeWer. That's kind of how it is right now, unfortunately. Jordan Greenway and Mason Shaw. No, I'm kidding. Probably still Greenway, but I don't know. He might have to be included in a trade somewhere. And yeah, the Bill Guerins and the Dean Evasons don't have a whole lot of patience for that kind of stuff, and quite frankly, I wouldn't either. Where I work, I don't like to put up with people that just kind of don't give a damn. Or just something about them, like they're not serious enough. Like they care. I'm sure they do. They care so much, but I don't know. Do you really though? If you really care, like show it maybe sometimes. January 17th, Washington Capitals is actually flashing on the screen right now with the Wild trailing 2-1, right about the midway point of the game. But, yeah, the Wild ended up winning 4-2, and the Gus Bus was a hero in this one in a big way because spacing against a really damn good team. Ovechkin didn't score a goal. He did have 2 assists. Ovechkin oftentimes has murdered the Wild. I remember he one-timed us to death a few years ago when he was kind of on a cold streak. I still remember that. It's like, wow, Ovechkin hasn't really been doing much this year. It was about 5 years ago already, and I still remember doing the show about it because I've been doing this show forever. Just one-timer. It was like 3 shots and 3 goals. It was a hat trick. All one-timers. It was just murder. I was just like, come on. Classic, right? Classic Minnesota sports. Like, oh man, he's not doing so hot. The Wild are going to win this one. We're going to finally, beat Washington because they often have had our number, oftentimes. And then no, we really didn't have their number at all. They stomped us, and it was really frustrating. Connor DeWer with a couple assists in the Washington Capital game, and just kind of playing his role, the wall game and getting the puck and all that, and moving it to the next player, and they obviously like second assist type things basically, or is what pretty much DeWer had, but they still count. The Spurgeon one, actually, no, that one was a first assist, yeah. Able to get from Reeves, who actually powered away from that one, but it's his other goal, or other assist, getting it to Brodin. It's just kind of fun how they both wound up being great shots by defensemen. Spurgeon, just unbelievable placement, and you could argue Brodin's was even prettier, just the timing, the release and all that, the patience, like a goal scorer's goal. And it was his first goal of the season. It's been a weird year offensively for Jonas Brodin, as like just a couple of years ago, he was on the power play a little bit, and he was a factor. He would be scoring, he'd be getting assists and all that. he does have a shot. I mean, he does have an accurate shot and all that, and obviously his skating is insane. So him being Brodin, but I don't know, kind of oft injured, and a frustrating start to the season, and he's not been super great this year. I don't know, but at times he still you can still see what he can do in a big way, and he's signed for many more years. Hopefully he's not on the decline already. I would hope not, but unfortunately guys have gotten hurt quite a bit. that get hurt a lot. Sometimes they start declining earlier. So hopefully we're nowhere near any decline with Brodin, and I'm guessing we're not. Maybe just kind of a crappy first half, and hopefully heading into the second half, Brodin's got something special coming our direction. But he certainly hasn't been bad, just not as good as maybe you'd expect. He's been mildly disappointing. Joel Eriksson got the empty netter. It was kind of on the pretty side, but it's just crazy. 3 of the goals, and basically all the goals that Super League mattered, were all by defensemen. 2 goals by Spurgeon, 1 by Brodin. It's just kind of cool. It was just a different kind of game. But and then again, Gustavsson, phenomenal in net, stopping just about everything coming his way. It's funny too. The goal in the New York Islanders game, the first goal of the game, ended up being the only goal. It was a terrible goal, just kind of flinging the puck towards the net, that type of thing. And it's just like a lottery ticket. Like, oh, like what the hell? And then I won. Wow. Yeah, like I won $100 on a scratch off. That's pretty much what that was. And yeah, the first goal in this game, not the prettiest thing ever either. But really, ever since then, it's like Gustafsson might have one crappy goal, and then after that, it's just like a wall. He's been unbelievable. Again, goals against average under 2 pretty much since the beginning of the season, or since the first month of the year. He's just been phenomenal. He's been an all-star. And quite frankly, I hope he makes the all-star team. What a nice story that would be. Most people would be like, oh yeah, Fleury's back to the all-star game again. You know, he's having a nice renaissance in his upper 30s. One more all-star game. It's pretty cool. Love what he's doing. And then next thing you know, ends up being Filip Gustavsson going to the all-star game. Could happen. It could happen. But an overall, nice week. Again, great goaltending is going to do that for you. Great goaltending, and then some nicely placed shots by Spurgeon and Brodin. Just nice shots. Awesome. Solid week for the Minnesota Wild against, and then Zuccarello and Kaprizov are, obviously what they are. Phenomenal playmakers and obviously goal scorers as well, especially in Kaprizov's case. But yeah, I mean, Zuccarello can score too. He looks awesome out there. The Mike Modano Award winner for this episode is Filip Gustavsson. Get on the Gus Bus. Get on the Gus Bus. All-Star Gus Bus. Yes. I've said it about 50 times about what the hell. The James Shepard Memorial, it's, I don't know. I mean, it's there's like two or three guys you kind of that I can't stop bragging on because they're not been good. Quite simply, the Dumbas, the Greenways, Mason Shaw, obviously he didn't really even play, so I can't really rag on him. So Hardman hasn't been much of a factor again, but it is what it is. I can't say anything bad about Steele or Duhaime, guys like that. Boldy wasn't exactly spectacular. So I mean, you just got to come back to Greenway. I mean, he's had some moments, this and that, but frustrating. Generally speaking, he's one of the bigger disappointments of the season, no doubt. So that's where we're going this week. With that said, we'll take a quick break and come back for 3 games to preview. We'll talk about those in segment 2. And we are back here on Brave the Wild. Segment number 2. Yeah, it's kind of, at least it's kind of light out right now. Like earlier when it was raining, like in the last, like a few days ago, it was really dark. And it's like a little bit of sun around here would be nice. Maybe I could have a little more of an upbeat vibe doing my show. I'm like, the Wild, they won 3 games. It's really cool. It's really awesome, guys. Really awesome. And then I get hyper or something stupid. But first of all, we're going to hear from DraftKings, of course, hockey podcast network version of it. as long as I have the correct one up, and I hope I do. Yes, I do. The NFL playoff action continues. We're one step closer to Super Bowl 57, which will feature the 49ers, yes. And for the NFL division round, check out DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can take a shot at an even bigger payout with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Boost your NFL winnings with each leg to add up to 100%. So, of course, again, this past week, a lot of us hoping and praying the Vikings would get the job done. Maybe you're picking the Giants to cover. Yeah, and apparently most of the money was on the Giants, believe it or not, and, well, they won. So, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It's sad and depressing. Check out the most recent Purple Mafia episode. I don't know, why am I getting into that? So, if you want to hear about that sadness. But overall, again, picking Cincinnati to win, that was, kind of a given, even though that wasn't a pretty game. Buffalo, gosh, well, they didn't cover the spread, so you lost money there. That would be a frustrating one. And San Francisco, just bet on San Francisco. That's probably a safe thing going forward, including against the stinking Cowboys. Anyhow, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 on the NFL division round and get $200 in free bets instantly, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Yes, sir. So, again, thank you very much, DraftKings and the Hockey Podcast Network. Oh, Lord. Yep. Well, we got, again, the 3 games to preview. Where do we go from here, boys? Where do we go from here? Carolina Panthers, Florida, and Tampa Bay. So we're going southeast, and these all are on the road. Yeah. Then the Wild come up for a homestand against the Philadelphia Flyers and Buffalo Sabres to wrap up January. And then there's a couple of days off and blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about February when we get there. Carolina Panthers. Who the heck are these guys? Carolina Hurricanes, anyway. Carolina Panthers, are they Tom Brady's next team? Who knows? It's one of those weird rumors out there. Max Pacioretty out for Sunday's game on the 15th versus Vancouver. Okay, so we'll see what happens. No detail about his injury there. Andre Case, injured reserve as of he's been out forever. Jake Gardner, out forever. So, yeah. Hip and back injuries there. Minnesota Wild are 22nd in goals. That seems to be dropping, hasn't it? 19th for Carolina. They're only 19th, yet they're a great team. Goals against the Wild and the Carolina Hurricanes are third in the league, right at 118. Yep. The Wild did defeat the Carolina Hurricanes 2-1 in OT on Saturday, November the 19th. Can the Wild sweep the season series? That'd be quite impressive. I'm not sure. It's going to be a tough one. Power play, the Wild's 14th. Carolina's 26th. Nothing standing out except good goaltending so far. Penalty kill, the Wild, it'll come. Penalty kill is 15th and Carolina's 12th. Wild penalty kill has definitely made a comeback, hasn't it? The Wild are now 30th in penalty minutes. So we've jumped up a few spots from 32nd, so that's good. Carolina's 7th. So, yeah, they don't really stand out a whole lot in, like, team stats. But they're just winning games. 27, 9, and 8. And I had them in the final this year. So, yeah, I had them in there. Brent Burns is his first year there, of course. Nick says leading the club in scoring, 17 goals, 22 assists, 39 total points. Sebastian Aho, 37 and 37. 37 points in 37 games anyway. Svechnikov, 35 points in 44 games, 19 goals. That's number 1 on the team. Brent Burns, 29 total points, 6 goals in 44 games. At least he stayed healthy, so good for him. Jordan Stahl, the younger brother of our guy that we used to have, of course. Eric Stahl. Definitely had his off and on moments, about a half a point kind of a guy, half a point a game. Paul Stastny, that's where he turned up. I almost forgot about him. 3 goals, 11 assists. Pacioretty's only played in 4 games all season. It's kind of depressing. Yep, obviously, yep. It seems like he's always hurt. And, yeah, he's been hurt forever. Seth Jarvis, he was one of those major draft prospects a few years back. 22 points in 44 games. So, good for him, I suppose. Nothing super special yet, but it seems like these days guys are off to slower starts. And Terevinen, what the heck? What's up with Terevinen? Am I talking about the same guy? 34 games, 18 points. So it's been a weird season. Yet they're still in first place. I mean, go figure. It's been a weird year for the Carolina Hurricanes. Like, what's going on? I don't know. But if they win the Cup, it'd be quite a story, to be quite honest. The Wild could sweep this series. They absolutely could. I kind of think Carolina's going to win, but on the road. But then again, I mean, home ice isn't everything. Their actual goaltending situation, which I didn't even get to. Kochakov, 10 wins, 4 losses, save percentage .233, 3 shutouts. So it's kind of sink or swim for these guys. Because, yeah, you just look at the numbers and you're like, yeah, sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not. Antti Ranta, obviously one of the better backups in the NHL, 10 wins, 2 losses. That's outstanding. 2.63 goals against average and 2 shutouts. And then Fredrik Andersen, who's supposed to be the main guy, 7 wins, 3 losses, 2.48 save percentage, or 2.48 goals against average and no shutouts. Weird season overall, with guys missing time and yet they're still winning games. And then the hot and cold goalies, obviously again they've 5 shutouts is a really good thing, but you'd almost think their goals against average would be a little better. And the fact they don't score a whole lot, it's kind of weird. Again, yet they're winning games. They're just winning, generally speaking. So I'm going to pick a split for the season series just because I think it's a split. This might end up being a tough week again. Maybe I hope it's not 3 losses in a row, but I don't think so. Winnable game. These are winnable games, but the Wild shouldn't be necessarily favored in these games either. I think the Wild lose 3-2 in this game. That's just a feeling I have right now. Kalen Addison will score in the game, though. Kalen Addison will get a goal, but the Wild end up losing 3-2 to the Carolina Hurricanes as we try to move forward. Rapido. Florida Panthers, this could be a really rough week. This could be a bad week. Florida has been a tough one. The Wild might be counting on a win versus Carolina. Otherwise, it could be, hope for, at least getting meatloafed at worst, at best, other than getting swept, possibly. Florida, they're not good this year, so maybe I'll just shut up about that. It's just we haven't played these guys well so far. But I guess that was all last year. Season series, it's just getting started, but of course it's just 2 games. Saturday, January the 21st. This is on ESPN Plus, which is nice, but of course most of them are if you're not local. Monday, February the 13th. Good luck there with that, right? That's in Xcel Energy Center. This one's in Florida. I apologize. I got to do the backtracking again to see how Carolina's win streak is, so to speak. I do this a lot. They're 2 wins and 3 losses in their last 5. They've not been playing well, so definitely a very winnable game. I may have a change of heart here, but same score, 3-2. I'm sticking with the loss for now. They lost to Columbus 4-3 at Columbus. Hosted New Jersey 5-3 loss. Went to Columbus 6-2 win. There you go. Beat Pittsburgh 2-1 and lost to Vancouver. All right, that's being the Carolina Hurricanes. As for Florida, only 21-20. Yeah, that's a weird team too. Bob Brovsky, the 10 years and all that. What are they doing? He's not even good. January 10th, beat Colorado 5-4. Lost to Vegas 4-2. Beat Vancouver 4-3. Beat Buffalo. I'm surprised with that one. 4-1. That's impressive. And then lost to Toronto 5-4. Florida's 9th in goals. I'm losing it. I apologize. 25th in goals against. That's what I was looking at. 25th in goals against. Yeah, terrible. Yep. They're kind of relying on their offense and, I don't know, yet paying the goalie forever. Makes sense. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing there. 15th in the power play. 21st in the penalty kill. 31st in penalty minutes. All right, let's go, Minnesota. Let's go. Yeah, staying out of the box. Let Florida pass you there. They've been on a trend in the wrong direction. Speaking of goalies, Spencer Knight placed him on injured reserve in early January there on the 10th. Patrick Hornquist, injured reserve as of December 4th. Anthony Duclair, he could return. Okay, that can't be right. Yep. So some of those reports are not good. I shouldn't even rely on that stuff anymore. Ah, boy. Bobrovsky, 3.25 goals against average. It's just, I don't know. It reminds me of Rudy Gobert with the Wolves. It's just like, yes, we got Rudy Gobert. What were we thinking? What were we thinking? Seriously. Spencer Knight, 3.05. He's not that great either. Obviously, a highly touted prospect, but I don't know. It's kind of, it's not all the goalies' fault. It can be the play in front of them, of course, as well. Matthew Tkachuk looks phenomenal. 100-point type of guy, obviously coming in from Calgary, and he really is a 100-point type of talent. 22 goals. Just stay away from him at Dumba. Yeah, I know that's enough of that. 34 assists, 56 total points in 43 games. Barkov, somebody we've all wanted forever, but I don't know. 12 goals, 25 assists, 36 games. Sam Reinhart's been playing much better. The two Sams, Sam Reinhart with, Sam Reinhart was with Buffalo. Sam Bennett with Calgary. Two Sams that were, obviously highly touted on their teams and didn't just underachieve for years, but then came to Florida and are doing okay. And yet they're not winning games. Whatever. Anton Lundell, everybody kind of was impressed with him at first, and then it's like, okay, now he's not really progressing all that much. 37 games, 6 goals, 11 assists, but I don't know. There's nothing to brag about with Rossi in the NHL just yet either. So, I mean, what is it, 16 games and 1 assist, so can't brag too much, can we? We can't. We have nothing to say. Zach Dalpe, wasn't he on Minnesota for a minute? He was, right? 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists. He was on the Wild, yeah. Mark Stahl, yep, that's the other Stahl. Chris Tierney, former San Jose Shark, 2 goals, 1 assist in only 5 games. Why am I even looking at that? Winnable game. Wild have to win this one. You have to win this one. I know it's a weird matchup historically, but the Wild have to win this one. So the Wild will win this one. Final score of 4-3. Minnesota Wild get the job done. A little more on the offensive side, maybe 5-4, 5-3. Maybe it goes to some kind of crazy shootout thing, but I think the Wild win this game. I think Kaprizov has 2 goals in the game. 2 goals, maybe he gets a hat trick, but it's going to be something like that. I'm really feeling Kaprizov in this one, that he's going to take advantage of the situation and have some serious fun. But Zuccarello and Kirill Kaprizov, this isn't really swinging for the fences when it comes to saying like multi-point games for Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Kaprizov will get a hat trick versus the Florida Panthers, so I'll make a little bit more of a gutty pick. Kirill Kaprizov will have a hat trick versus the Florida Panthers going forward. And I'll probably be completely wrong, but whatever. That's part of the fun of it, right? Tampa Bay Lightning, after a couple of days off, again in Florida. 29-13-1. They're still third place in the Atlantic Division despite a pretty good record, but the Wild have a pretty good record too, and we're stuck in third. But at least third and not in the wild card. Nick Purby, he's been out for a little bit here. Yeah, it's kind of like they don't say any details anywhere. He's an injured reserve. He's out from this day. He's out from that day. So there's not even anything anymore. Not even upper and lower body. It's just he's out. Okay. Goals 6th in the National Hockey League for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Goals against 10th. Of course, again, great goaltender there. No surprise. 2nd in the entire league in the power play. 10th in penalty kill. So, obviously, again, they're the Tampa Bay Lightning for Pete's sake. Let's not forget who they truly are. They're multi-cup champs. So, they're for real. They're at least what Pittsburgh was when they were dominant back in the mid-10s, whatever, mid to late 10s. Penalty minutes, they're 24th, and all that cute stuff. The Wild pounded this team at the beginning of the year, 5-1. Fun game. Could the Wild sweep the season series? I want that to happen. I really do. I got a feeling it might be a little bit more of a lower scoring type of game. And Tampa's playing freaking great. They've won all 5 of their last 5. Yeah. Well, it can, you know what I mean. Hopefully the Wild can beat Lovett. Maybe we beat Carolina and Florida, but I don't think the Wild are going to beat Tampa. I don't think the Wild sweep the Tampa Bay Lightning this year. They just don't, and they're playing really well. And watch out. This club might go on another run. Very, very strong possibility. 6-3 win versus Columbus. 5-4 win versus Vancouver. At St. Louis, 4-2. At Seattle, 4-1. At Vancouver, 5-2. Smush. They are smushing teams. pretty good. At least the last three were really impressive, to be quite honest. It's the Lightning, folks. It's the Lightning, and you got players that we've talked about 100,000 times, and the Louis Belpedio, and I don't know. It is what it is. It sucks. Brian Elliott's, it's Brian Elliott, and that's one of the reasons why the Wild beat up on the Tampa Bay Lightning last time. Vasilevsky, I got a feeling, is going to keep us to 2 goals. Tampa wins 4-2. Kucherov is Kucheroving again. 64 points in 43 games. He's tearing it up. Stamkos healthy and kicking ass. 52 points in 43 games. 21 goals. And Braden Point. Yes, that's the guy. 26 goals in only 43 games. Incredible. 47 points. Hagel the Bagel, 38 points in 43 games. Killhorn, 32 points. I mean, you could go on all day. I could go on all day. Victor Hedman. Not spectacular numbers, but certainly better than any defenseman we have. 28 points in 40 games. Only 2 goals, but whatever. 26 assists. The ancient one, Corey Perry. Poor guy. 3 Stanley Cup final losses in a row. That's got to suck. But at least he did get the one way, 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 way back. And I bring this up every single time I mention his name. Way, way back in 2007. The Anaheim Ducks, who kicked our butts in the first round and went on their way to a Stanley Cup title. And probably the first and last Cup final they'll ever win. Ian Cole, former Minnesota Wild watch. 14 points. 3 goals in 40 games. Ian Cole, nice fit there, I'm sure. Sorelli, I remember that guy. He's fallen off the face of the earth, unfortunately, but guys are hurt. It just is what it is. He's missed quite a few games. Yeah, but I think the Tampa Bay Lightning went 4-2 over the Minnesota Wild. Matt Boldy will score at least his first goal since his new contract, which does not kick in until next year. It's like right away, isn't it? If I remember correctly. Let me backtrack here. I believe it's starting next year, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Obviously, guys are going to be gone, and that's going to be a very interesting talker in the offseason. It's going to be a very interesting talker heading into the trade deadline as well. I mean, something's probably going to happen, right? And, of course, in the offseason, guys aren't going to be brought back, and there'll be some maneuvering and some exciting young prospects moving up. Faber is the most likely one. And speaking of prospects, let's get to that now, eh? Yep, the World Junior Championship, that's all done. So now we can just kind of generally focus on the prospects, guys like that. I'm going to open up with Brock Faber for now because I'm just going to. I feel bad when I don't bring him up right away. Brock. Yep, and of course, he'll be with Minnesota before you know it. Gophers have been, they haven't been dominating the past few games. They've been meeting some tougher competition, getting some splits or like a tie and a win. That's okay. So that's winning the series. So good for the Gophers. Of course, I am a Gopher fan. I'm not cheering for the St. Cloud State Huskies. I'm not cheering for the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. I'm not cheering. Sorry, I'm not. The Mankato State Mavericks. I'm not. Sorry. I'm not one of those guys who's, I like all of them. No, I don't. I'm a Gopher fan, period. I'm sure as hell not cheering for North Dakota. Anyhow, Brock Faber has 16 points in 24 games. 3 of them are goals, and of course he's the captain, and he's a plus 18 on the season. And the Gophers are one of the best teams in the nation. Like top 5 team most of the season. Hopefully Brock Faber brings in a national championship before he becomes a Minnesota Wild player at the end of his junior season for the Minnesota Gophers. Second round pick, 45th overall in the 2020 National Hockey League draft. So, yep, that's crazy. That was in that beautiful October day, when the weirdest timing for a draft ever because of the circumstances and all that. Everything delayed and pushed back, but once it happened, it's like it felt so much better. Like, so cool. But unfortunately, we had to wait for quite a while. There was a labor dispute. It's so freaking frustrating. But again, can't wait to see Brock Faber. And yeah, it is what it is. When it comes to Matt Dumba, the Iowa Wild. Might as well get into them, as I like to open up with them. They've certainly been playing better. Sammy Walker continuing to be a plus point a game guy, 31 points, 29 games, 15 goals to lead the club in points and goals. Fogarty's been wonderful. Again, he's another typical quad A player, does great down in the AHL, but Nicholas Paton's been insanely good at the AHL level. You bring him up, he's a fourth line player who will get a point every, X amount of games. Beckman's quieted down, but Sweeney's heating up. So nice to see Nick Sweeney getting multi-point games. 9 goals now. He's heated up to 9 goals, 4 assists, unfortunately, only 4. But yeah, he's had a few multi-point games since coming back from that injury that just dragged forever. But 8-game return has been great. Marco Rossi's cooling down a bit. Couple games in a row now without a point. So, 5 goals, 11 assists for Marco Rossi. Again, Beckman, who was hot for a bit, cooling down. What more can you say? It's been kind of the Sammy Walker, Nicholas Paton, and Fogarty show a bit. And Joe Hicketts, who I hardly ever imagined. I'm sorry, Joe. 22 assists to lead the entire team. Again, it was a Detroit Red Wing draft pick. 5'8" guy, not the biggest dude, but another quad A guy who does super well at the AHL, but kind of barely cracking it to the National Hockey League. Cramarosa's gone, right? That's what I thought. I think he went overseas, yeah. He did, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he went overseas, so we'll just leave that alone. And again, wishing him the best. He's probably a bit frustrated. Maybe he can make a bit more overseas, and I don't blame him. Damon Hunt stuck at 6 points. Ryan O'Rourke stuck at 6 points. Suster stuck at 6 points. I better stop with the 6s. Okay, let's get another one. Milne 6. Okay, I don't want to have 3 of them. Get to 4. Sorry. Simon Johansson added his 7th. There you go. I feel better there. Mitchell Chaffee's missed a ton of time. But he's still almost at a point a game pace overall during the course of the season. But unfortunate there. Very unfortunate circumstances. Jesper Wallstedt, again, making the All-Star team, had a shutout recently, goals against average 2.74. 9-7 on the season. Zane McIntyre, 9-7 on the season. Nice to see Iowa playing more like a playoff team now, shaking off some of that, some of the baby fat, so to speak. Some of the, getting, some of these guys getting their feet wet at professional hockey for the first time. Lots of young guys, including Jesper Wallstedt. And, of course, guys, and the injuries. Guys like Sweeney coming back, you don't think that's important? And, of course, Sammy Walker being in the lineup, I'm sure it's very helpful. Obviously, big loss when he's gone, but opportunity for somebody else who needs to get going. So, needs to get their butt moving in the right direction. But, yeah, like Mitchell, guys that have been hurt, it sucks. Dakota Mermis, I don't mention him too much, 16 points. But, yeah, he's not really a prospect. So, it's just AHL, generally speaking. Hunter Jones, he's the main guy in the ECHL, Iowa Heartlanders. He's snake bit. I feel bad for him and all that. 1-8 on the season, 3.22 goals against average. I mean, at least it's not terrible, but I feel bad for him. I do. I really do. God, yeah, CJ Mott, he was with Iowa for a minute in the past. God, what a mess. What a weird situation. ECHL is what it is. So some guys are probably happy to be there, but most guys aren't. It just kind of is what it is. And Iowa Heartlanders have not been good. That's just an unfortunate fact. So, I mean, it kind of is what it is. It kind of, what am I closing here? Okay, it kind of is what it is. Why is this not doing what I want? Okay. Other prospects. Let's bounce around a bit here. Let's go to Europe a little bit. Liam Ugrin. Sorry for my weird pause here. Things weren't moving as I would have liked. And of course, left winger and hopefully replacement for Fiala someday, but certainly not immediate. That's for damn sure. 3 points there at the professional level. Well, no, that's under 20 on the loan in Djurgårdens. 9 goals, 7 assists so far for him. 16 total points. 9 goals, 7 assists. Liam Ugrin. He's been chipping away kind of slowly but surely. A point here and there, that kind of thing. But at 18 years of age, I mean, you can't expect a whole lot. Yurov again. Danila Yurov, big fan, of course. Still, he's in the MHL. 2 goals, 9 assists in 11 games. So more than a point a game at the MHL level, which is the AHL of the KHL. Yep, KHL, he did have 9 points in 45 games, did Yurov, before going down to the MHL. Maybe get his kind of, again, like I always say, sending a guy down to AAA to get his batting average up. Maybe get his timing, hit a couple home runs, that's that kind of thing. Like a baseball type of vibe. Now I'll move back to the North America if possible. Hunter Hate is hating. Whoa. That might be Marcus Foligno coming by here, the Moose. 20, so this is Hunter Hate, actually. Yeah, he's charging through the OHL with the Saginaw Spirit. 26 points, 9 goals, 17 assists in 17 games. So, wow. Outstanding. That's the Hunter Hate train busting through there for the Saginaw Spirit. Love what he's been doing. Reger Lorenz, University of Denver, Yapst. Again, just very early in his career, 8 points, 2 goals, 6 assists in 22 games. It is what it is, freshman in college. Milnes with the Iowa Wild, the big old redhead there. Ryan Healy for Harvard, finally playing a little bit again. He'd been missing time. Went from, now he's at 17 games, 2 goals, 5 assists. Added his 5th assist this past week. Good for him. Spetchik. Love what David Spetchik has been doing. Yep, I keep saying that over and over again. With the Q, the Shearbook Phoenix. Love that name. 6 goals, 21 assists, 27 total points, and a plus 10 on the season. Again, he had 50 points last year, so we'll see if he can pass that. I'm sure he will be able to. Petrovsky, who's a center for the Owen Sound Attack. Gotta love that. Coming out of Slovakia, where Spetchik is from Czechia. 37 points now in 34 games. As Petrovsky's been picking it up. 18 goals and 19 assists. Yeah, he's been playing very well. He actually was Player of the Week for for Minnesota Wild Young Guns, MNW Young Guns. Yeah, obviously prospect website, Twitter account, Facebook page, and all that. I always give them a shout out in the fan interaction segment. They're obviously wonderful. Carson Lambos, now 31 games, 27 total points, 6 goals, 21 assists, and his plus minus has been creeping up. It was really low for a while. It was like way down there. Now he's a 30. He's a plus 30 now. So he was a plus 42 last season, which was really exciting. Great season last year for the Winnipeg Ice. So the plus minus has been going up. That's encouraging. So got to think that's going to keep getting better. Jack Pert just putting the points on the board now. More than half a point a game, that's for sure. 2 goals, 13 assists now for the St. Cloud State Huskies. And again, he was in the World Junior Championships. That was fun. Caden Bankier, been fantastic for the Kamloops Blazers, to be fair. Yep, definitely well ahead of last year's pace, and I keep saying it, but it's freaking true. 21 goals, which he had last year, 20 assists. He's a plus 17, which is two behind last year, but I've seen worse, definitely. He's definitely at a nice pace going forward. Well over a point a game there. For the Kamloops Blazers, cool team. Kyle Masters, a guy who's taken a massive step forward, dominating with the Kamloops Blazers, leaving the Red Deer Rebels. And his plus minus, remember, it was kind of low, and he's been picking up, just like Carson Lambos, now at a plus 14. 42 points in 38 games, 8 goals, 34 assists. And remember, he is a defenseman. So, again, Kyle Masters, massive step forward. Josh Pilar, well, he's at a point a game now for the Saskatoon Blades. He missed a ton of time, but getting better now, getting going again, getting his feet back, so to speak. Now a plus 11. Again, guys have been getting their plus minuses up. That's nice to know. Josh Pilar, 12 points in 12 games. Good for him there for the Saskatoon Blades. Definitely an improvement after where he'd been for a while there. Jeez. Omaha Lancers, that would be Nate Benoit, 12 points, 4 goals, 8 assists, minus 19, unfortunately, in 31 games for the Omaha Lancers. And I rudely did not mention Marat Huznadinov, now in 51 games, 29 points, 9 goals, 20 assists. Not producing a ton of points, but again, he brings that incredible speed, defensive player and all that. But 29 points in the KHL is nothing to sneeze at. It's really not. It is the professional level in Russia. Russia, professional hockey is not a joke. It's not. You're like, oh, the NHL's 10. Believe me, there's some players there that could do something. So, do something in the NHL, believe me. Huznadinov is the real deal. Not necessarily a future star, but I think very possible, at least a middle six guy at the National Hockey League who can kind of do a little bit of everything. Obviously, again, great skating ability, defense. He's not gonna wow you as like what an unbelievable scorer he is. He's not a rifleman, so to speak, or sniper, sorry. but definitely an all-around nice player who could, I bet if he was in the AHL right now, you'd be like, holy crap, he would look really good. So with that said, we'll take a quick break and time for an epic fun fan interaction segment yet again. And we are back here on Brave the Wild. Looks like another fun and busy fan interaction segment, so let's get started immediately, if humanly possible. Again, hashtag BTWOman, hashtag BTWOman. There was some interaction in between. There was some in-between interaction. I was saying it's amazing. We open things up to get on the offensive and get outscored. We started playing defensively and get shut out. And that was during the Islanders game. I was kind of ranting. And then Derek Velska, Sorokin is pretty good. The real shame is not taking advantage of a subpar Sheshkatin a few nights ago. Yeah, he wasn't playing that well. And we did have 3 goals, but I don't know. Yeah, he wasn't playing real well. So nailed it there. Thank you, Derek. I was saying it's not the most exciting game ever, but a win's a win. We'll definitely take it. I would rather win a low-scoring game than a sloppy 6-5 mess. Yeah, this was the Arizona game. Even though it's nice statistics for certain players. And Derek, he's like, this sucks. Yeah, he's like, I'm still disappointed. The Minnesota Wild kind of messed around. They really did, didn't they? And we're lucky to have been able to get a regulation win out of it. In my opinion, Arizona tanked in the last 2 minutes because they had the Wild on the ropes most of the third. Yeah, that's true. Like I was saying, they kind of outplayed us in that game, didn't they? So, yeah, I was saying, no doubt. It was not a good game, generally speaking. We probably should have won 4-1, yeah. Yeah. Next one. Yep, I was sharing the article, and just in case I was stupid and forgot it. So, 7 for 49 basically for Matt Boldy, which might seem expensive right now, but could end up being a bargain later if he does get to be an 80-plus guy, which I think it's in the cards. Sure, it's not there yet though. And then Joe Smith. Yep, I wanted to make sure Russo and Smith got shared. Joe Smith, former Minnesota Timberwolf, right? No, I'm kidding. Derek Felska says, maybe it's me, but like Eriksson Ek, I'm demanding at least 20 to 25 goals each season if you're going to pay him at that rate. Oh, me too. At least 60 points, which might seem like a gimme if he gets a skilled player to work with, but it may be a while before that player is ready. It's true, and he's looked soft at times. He certainly has, like the neutral zone crap episode. I was pissed, he looked kind of weak in some of those plays. So, true. There's definitely more than meets the eye, I think, with some of that. If that was even the right phrase, what the heck am I talking about? Mosey says his current projections, meaning Boldy, should hit those numbers for this season. Getting a skilled player is what should make this a good move long term. Yeah. Derek says projections. So he can score 1 goal in a 14... Yeah, that's the other thing. He's been real quiet, hasn't he? Yeah, he was off to a pretty good start, and then it's been... Yeah, he hasn't been good. So he can score 1 goal in a 14-game pace and reach 20 to 25 goals this season. I'm not the best at math, but I think that might not make it. I was saying very realistic expectations for $7 million a year. I do believe he has it in him. And hopefully Boldy takes a step forward next year. Yeah. It's realistic expectations, I think. As for, he has been quiet. It's like, it's too bad. It shows he was at a pretty nice pace earlier, but, in 82 games, you have to be consistent. And if Boldy can be consistent, then you got something for sure. Yeah, but Joel Eriksson Ek looks wonderful, I think, frankly. Maybe not like a stud or anything, super stud, but he certainly has been a nice... I'm going to go right to him right now. And the projections, again, major shout-out to Hockey Database, Hockey DB. Really love them. Nice people, and they followed me, which is, incredible. It means a lot. And then... Elite Prospects does the projections. That might be a good idea for a Hockey Database to consider doing. I'm not, so right now, Joel Eriksson Ek is projected, and he's played every game. Let's just leave it right where that is. You hear that sound? Yeah. 29 goals, 36 assists, 65 points. So that would definitely be worth the money Julius X being paid at about 5.25, right? So that's good. If that's Julius X, then I'm very, 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 very happy. And if he goes beyond that, all right, wouldn't that be cool? So yeah, that's definitely meeting expectations there. In my opinion, I'm very pleased with Julius X. So now we continue. Oh yeah, I was kind of. What was I saying? I was saying, I swear every team this year in the NBA and NHL for their special third jerseys have gone to their crappy rebrands. Some are better than others, but a lot of them were a part of their history jersey I'd rather not remember. Yeah, and I probably shouldn't have said that. I know. And yeah, Derek's saying, I disagree. I don't mind a retro jersey. Oh, I love retro jerseys. My whole point is the crappy rebrands. Like, if you're going to go retro, see, I didn't word that right. If you're going to go retro, see Calgary. Like, Calgary going in with the retros with, what's that name of that fire horse? It's okay, but I like the real retros, like 89, Stanley Cup champion Calgary. That's retro, rather than like the rebrand, So, I mean, I still understand, though, because it does bring back good memories, like mid-90s, late 90s, so I can understand. Derek says, I disagree. I don't mind a retro jersey thrown in once in a while. I would wear the reverse retro jerseys more, too, if it was in the team's power to do so. See, that's real retro. Like, say, the North Stars, or like, what if the Wild wore like the Stars before they moved? See, that's a rebrand. That would probably but that wouldn't sit well around here. But just kind of generally saying, that was probably a bad example. Sorry. Does the Boldy extension? This is my bat signal. Does the Boldy extension bring a Minnesota Wild question to the mind? Ask and hashtag it. Remember to always to hashtag it BTWMN. Hashtag BTWMN. Jay Bushy, welcome back to the show. Always love hearing from you. As Russo reported, the extension may put Greenway on shaky ground. Your thoughts? I think so, too. I think Greenway is kind of on the way. I think Greenway is kind of on the way out at some point. And, the cap space situation, obviously, it's going to be tighter going into next season. You get $2 million more for the cap hell. We are going to go into the heart of the cap hell next year and the year after. Right about 14.7-ish, right? 14.7 plus cap hell next year. We're at 12.7 right now. Like I was saying, 13 and 15, so that type of thing. So this is serious stuff, serious times when you add a $7 million per AAV with Matt Boldy. So obviously a Greenway, that's $3 million off the books. Dumba, $6. Well, there you go, $9 million. It's all solved. No, not necessarily, but still, $9 million would be really helpful if both of them are either traded away or just not on the roster anymore or whatever. Greenway you'd have to trade. Dumba could just be lost as a free agent, but maybe you'd like to get something back in return or some kind of package deal where you end up getting a top 6 forward in return. I'm not holding my breath on the top 6 forward thing, but hopefully. Who's Nadinov, damn it? I don't know. And then you got to sign him like in 5 minutes for like, $8 million a year. Here we go. We got to sign him. We got to. Brian Herrera. Well, let's finish up the Jay Bushy thing first because it's there's a couple response. KFAN girl says, in my opinion, we will be fine without Greenway. Lazy as hell and uses his size poorly. Agree. Yep, and so does Jay Bushy. Agree 100. I agree 100. With his size, he should be one of the best power forwards in the league. Yep. Nailed it, and yep, both of you nailed it there. Mick Chicken, boy, yep, I like Mick Chickens too. He says Greenway is maybe a 20 to 30 points a year player. I'm thinking that if they could trade him, they would. He seems like lots of potential, but maybe he's lazy or peaked already. I think a little bit of both. I'm going to give you a follow there, Mick Chicken, just in case you're listening and would like to follow back. Please follow back. No, no. I mean, anybody that does, I love you. Thank you. Brian Foley says he being Greenway, played like he was finally motivated last night. Imagine that. And yeah, he did have a good game versus the Washington Capitals. He did. Maybe because he realizes it's just, he's kind of on the way out, possibly. It's interesting. And Derek made sure that I was able to see that with the hashtag BWO, man. I really appreciate that, Derek. So, Brian Herrera, what video game would you describe this season so far? What's a game that starts really slow and boring and then gets fun? Final Fantasy VI. Yeah, the beginning is long, and it's like, come on, I want to play the game, and then it's like, ooh, you're just like, wow, this game is fun. It's kind of like that, but maybe not quite as epic as Final Fantasy VI. Secret of Evermore might be a little bit of a tough start, but then it's like, holy crap, this game is fun. Check out, be on the lookout. Secret of Evermore is on the short list of games coming out. Oh, I know Derek thinks it's one of the weaker RPGs on the Super Nintendo. Oh, I love that game. So, video game flashback. Of course, Spy Hunter's next. Legend of Zelda. Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past Part 3. The conclusion is already completed. It is scheduled for release. So, it is scheduled for release Saturday morning around, I think it's 11 a.m., something around there. It'll just kind of pop up. It's there. I just wanted to give the other show its little time in the sun before, but I mean, ultimately they're all there, but I don't want to throw them all out at once, as they say. I suppose you almost could, but it's better to kind of, branch them out a little bit. Next, the video game flashback, though, if you're interested in retro game podcasting, hopefully Brian Herrera's a listener, and others as well. Derek Felska, lightning round has begun. Right, I should get a lightning effect. The Minnesota Wild recently extended Matt Boldy to a 7-year, $49 million contract. I realize he's 21 years old, but unless he's paired with a scorer, I'm not sure we'll get the return we hope. He has one goal in his last 15 games. Should we be concerned about that? Yes. I think long term, I think long term they will find the right player to go with him. I mean, even Kaprizov, imagine if there's no Zuccarello. I'm sure people would figure things out. He'd still be good, but might not be quite the same. Holy cow, yeah, that was a lucky bounce right there. Gustafsson could have been scored on. Yeah, the puck that literally slid across to where the line is and didn't cross it. Yeah, so I bet a lot of you saw that play. Kuznetsov was like around involved there. But no, I mean, we should definitely be concerned about what's happening now, yes. And it does show that without a playmaker with them, it's not a pretty sight. It is interesting because hopefully the Wild can figure something out there, because obviously a lot of people have been talking about like Sammy Walker could be an immediate help. And I'm guessing Derek wouldn't disagree with that one. It's so tough because, I mean, I would love to have Sammy Walker up here. Obviously, he's not the star potentially, but I think he'd be a productive NHL player for many years, Sammy Walker. Hopefully the Wild can find a place for Sammy Walker soon. Yeah, that would be awesome. Derek Felska says, and obviously we're talking about probably somebody more significant in the future, or maybe could pair up with Walker and Matt Boldy. But yes, we should be concerned at the moment. Yes, but there's still a very good chance that things can come around. I do believe. Derek Felska says, if the Minnesota Wild were a hamburger, what would you have on it? Fun with food. If the Minnesota Wild were a hamburger, what would you have on it? Well, cheese for sure. I mean, if you just mean the food itself, cheese, pickles. Yeah, I'm kind of a basic guy. Cheese, pickles for sure. Mustard, probably a little bit of ketchup, and a little more mustard than ketchup, which probably is the opposite of most people in this world. I wouldn't put too much. Maybe I don't know. If there's lettuce, like just a touch, very little. I'm not a huge lettuce guy. I'd rather just have lettuce separate in a salad than in a sandwich or something. I think it kind of disturbs the flavor. I do, because lettuce doesn't have much taste. Why do you think people put salad dressing on lettuce? So put salad dressing in a salad. So that's kind of how I see it. I'm pretty basic, but extra pickles, not just pickles. Maybe a tiny, tiny smidgen of onions. But that's about it. If the Minnesota Wild were a hamburger, though, like what are they right now? I'm not even sure. Tomatoes, I think, have to be on there too. But I think that's about what they are as well. They're not anything too, exotic. They're not, they don't have all these crazy sauces and maybe eggs and stuff in it, like Japan, Japanese style hamburger. That's about what they are. Kind of, But that's, with good goaltending, though, I mean, that's all you need sometimes, is some scoring. Obviously, some really nice players, the main pieces, like Kaprizov's the hamburger and Zuccarello's the cheese. The pickles, you hope that's Boldy. You hope he can get some, but that's probably more like the Gustavsson and maybe they're the burger. I don't know, Gustavsson, but like a Gustavsson and Fleury are like the pickles. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it in a sense. Derek Felska says, whose contract beyond number 97 is the most important for the Minnesota Wild at this point? Which is the least? Whose contract? Contract extension. Sorry. I saw it. Sorry. My bad. Contract extension. So, here we go. This is actually really super good conversation. Dumba is the least. Dumba's the least because I don't want to give him $6 million. Or at least, yeah, he's the least because, otherwise Mason Shaw, because kind of is what it is. Steele is somewhere in the middle. DeHame is kind of, some people would say Steele is higher than DeHame. Actually, DeHame is a year older than Steele. Isn't that weird? I'm going to put Steele ahead of DeHame. But yeah, Shaw and Dumba are at the bottom. Most important is Gustavsson. Most important is Filip Gustavsson. Even though, again, he's not, necessarily, he's not Jesper Wallstedt. But boy, wouldn't you want to have Gustavsson and Wallstedt together? Especially early on when Wallstedt is probably not going to be, Patrick Waugh. His first year, his second year. Probably not. Maybe he will be by his third year. But that also doesn't mean Gustafsson is nothing and who cares. You don't want to play goalies too much. You just don't. We've been through it way too much. I mean, Backstrom was toast. He was cooked beyond belief his last couple of years here. Dubnyk was cooked beyond belief. I could go on all day. The Wild have been terrible about that. The most successful the Wild were when we had two good goalies. You could kind of go back and forth. And it didn't have to necessarily be back and forth night in, night out. But the option's there. That kind of thing. And like this guy's playing well, now it's the other guy's turn and blah, blah, blah. That kind of thing. So, I think Gustafsson's the most important right now. Because you got the Boldy one done. That was important. I'd love to bring back Ryan Reeves. Frederick Goudreau, they're obsessed with, which I'm not. That kind of thing. Yeah, Shaw and Dumba are at the bottom. DeHame, all these guys. Steele, I think it'd be good to bring him back, but you don't want to break the bank. That's the thing, and you can't. Again, and it depends on how much cap maneuvering we're going to do in the off season. It's a great conversation, and it's exciting. I love that kind of stuff. Ryan Reeves, he's probably not going to be getting 1.75, and as wonderful as he is, I don't know. That's a sad part. It just kind of depends. It all kind of depends. The personality in the locker room, and he actually can play a little bit without being a scorer. He can play a little bit. He's wonderful to have. 35. That's what I thought. Yeah. God, it's tough. It's tough, and it's not because I don't like Dumba. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. Addison is the most important. Addison and Gustafsson are at the top. I think they're just about tied. Addison, of course. That's the other one. My apologies. I knew there was somebody that I'm like, I know there's like a very important young guy that we need to resign immediately. That was Addison. Only 22. He's already a restricted free agent. It's ridiculous. At least a bridge deal for Addison. I can't imagine them giving him like $5 million or something. But some kind of bridge deal. 2, 3, 4. Like 3, 4 million. Something like that. Maybe that sounds stupid and crazy. Like, what has he done? Well, more than some of us, right? A lot more than us. Yeah, Dumba to me, Dumba and Shaw, I think it kind of is what it is. And that's where I'm standing on that. That's a conversation you could go on all day, and I like it, though. I love that kind of conversation. It's fun. It's fun to kind of speculate, so to speak, on contract extensions. Of course, that Kaprizov's number one, right? Derek says, looks like there was a response. Let's see what the response was. Most 97, 25, then 14. Least number 4. Okay, that's John Merrill. Yeah. But aren't those a little bit down the 14? 14. Huh, that's yeah. Isn't he signed forever? So, yeah, I don't know. He's signed forever though. Yeah, like 14. You know, I think we know who 14 is, right? Huh, 14. Yeah, John Merrill. No, I wouldn't be in a huge rush for that one. Derek says, if you had to describe the Minnesota Wild's special teams as a video game controller, which one would it be? Penalty kill, power play? Well, it's better than it used to be. For a while there, I would have said it was like the frickin' the N64 controller, like the penalty kill. I hate that thing. It's too big and it sucks. It's too big and you can't reach that stupid little, the stupid little joystick part. And that was crucial for like aiming the arrow in Zelda Ocarina of Time. That's why I didn't enjoy it very much. Video game controller, I suppose that could be anything though. It doesn't have like the ColecoVision controller, God, or even the Wild's power play. I think that was last year at the beginning of the season. That would have been the Atari 5200. Didn't work. You just turn it on. It doesn't work. Like the AVGN video. This thing is a piece of shit. There's only one problem. It doesn't work. You just plug it in. Yeah, it's a really funny video. What's the most important part about playing a bleeping game? Well, being able to bleep and play it. This is the reason the system failed. He was holding the controller. Yeah, that's basically about it. But that would be the Wild's penalty kill at the beginning of this season, and the power play, I think, last season at times, most of last season, into the playoffs. Right now, what are we ranked? Kind of in the middle, kind of, right? Like, it's not that bad. Let me get back to that real quick here. Kind of want to pull these up. I didn't really want to do it that way. Sorry. Yeah, it's right there in front of me. Why did I click away? So power play's 14th, penalty kill's 15th. So it's kind of like middle of the road, like the NES Max. Like nothing great. It was kind of fun, but it wasn't like, holy cow, what a great controller. Kind of like that. That would be like the power play. Kind of sort of the penalty kill. Penalty kills, I think the power play is better than the penalty kill, kind of. At times because of Kalen Addis and guys like that. He's been a huge help. Penalty kill is kind of up and down. Maybe that's like the NES Advantage, where it can be good, but sometimes it's just kind of bulky and it broke easily. Yeah, that's the ultimate. Like the joystick, the housing of the joystick broke easily. I remember it happened, and it's just like, damn it, I can't even go left. This is bull crap, that kind of thing. So that's the penalty kill. Is the NES Advantage. The power play is the max. It's kind of cool, but it doesn't like, holy crap. It's not like, oh my God, what an awesome controller. Like the original NES controller, and I'm holding one right now. It's right at my feet. Super Nintendo controller is arguably the best of all time, arguably, because it's just enough buttons and it's comfortable. The NES controller is a little, it's boxy, but so what? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. That'd be like I don't know. Let's leave it alone. But that's what I'm going with. Max for power play, advantage for penalty kill where it breaks easily. It's annoying. It's potentially good and stuff, but it breaks easily. Now that I've babbled too much and dragged that out. Yep, and I read the Jay Bushy one. Derek Felska says the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid, suggested getting rid of the shootout and instead just add more time on the 3-and-3 play. That's the overtime, since it would finish a game with hockey rather than a skills competition. Would you support this idea? Why or why not? Yes. The shootout's kind of cheap in a way. It's good, and I understand the skills competition is kind of annoying. I'd say add more 3-on-3 play. The only scary part to that could be like, it's good. It's a little bit strenuous and such if they never score. But I got to think 3-on-3 is high scoring. So, and it's insanely entertaining. If it comes to it, maybe make it 4-on-4. If it comes to it, like there is no shootout, it just goes to like double overtime or whatever the heck. Maybe just have it be 4-on-4, or you just go with the flat playoff approach. But of course, you don't want to kill guys. 3-on-3, you're more likely to with all that open hockey, you are more likely to have a score without it taking too long, where you'd like literally kill people out there. So that's it's better. It's more entertaining, and you get a conclusion because shootouts there does feel like a cheapness to it at the end of the day. So I do support it in that sense. Final one. Nope, looks like that's it. Those are the replies and all that stuff. So thank you all very much. That was a good one. That was really good. Very fun show, and I like talking about contracts and trades coming up and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was really good. Really appreciate the questions and the comments and the back and forth. Wild playing well, good goaltending, and Boldy being signed here. We don't have to sweat that out, but some of us might think, what the heck, it's kind of expensive, and he hasn't done that much, and the 15-game drought is pretty crappy. Well, 1 goal in 15-game stretch, excuse me. So it's a drought. It's just not 0 goals in 15. It's 1. He scored a goal, right? Sounds like the Mighty Ducks. We almost scored a goal, too. We only lost by 9. Jeez. But enough about the Iowa Heartlanders. Pretty much. With that said, going to get some shout-outs in. Again, MNW Prospects, also known as Young Guns. Pavel Burnett, awesome guy coming out of Czechia. Connects a lot, really. He's one of the main guys also with Minnesota Wild Global. Just does an unbelievable job keeping up with the prospects and the whole team in general. Justin Bakke, awesome guy. Minnesota Duluth Bulldog fan, but that's okay. And the Bulldogs, for the longest time, were my second favorite team, and still until they got a little happy with themselves, maybe. It's okay. I tend to go with the Bemidji State type of teams. I tend to like them a little more nowadays. The ones way out there. But obviously a part of Sound the Foghorn podcast, just does an awesome job. Thank you, Justin Bakke, pardon me. I called him Bakke so many times. Brandon Quast, great guy, also coming out of Wisconsin. And, wonderful, big hockey fan, good writer, everything, does a great job. And, again, they're all part of the Young Guns, MNW Prospects. Look that up and give them a follow and all that good stuff. And, of course, I'm a part of it, but haven't been involved as I'd like to be. So that's my own fault there. Oh, yes, it really is. Minnesota Wild Global, Scott Cavendish, wonderful page. Scott Cavendish does a great job keeping up with the Wild and all those in-game threads and all that. Those game day threads, you can call them. Again, Pavel Burnett's a major part of that as well. Kathy Main, Chad Walski, David Abraham, Michael Fick. Many names, David and Chance Kostick. Great, really enjoy being a part of that. Patrick Turner, Minnesota Wild Nation coming in out of Florida. Awesome. And I've got something to say about Florida here real quick. Holy cow. I need to say something about Florida right now. It is unbelievable. Gotta go over here. I think that's the majority of the shout-outs. I think that is, actually. So when you look at the demographics for Brave the Wild, right? What's the number 1 state? Minnesota. 32%, right? What's the number 2 coming in at 23? That is a whopping number. Florida. Isn't that cool? And how about this? Here's the biggest surprise of all. Cities, right? Is it St. Paul? Minneapolis? Which one? Tampa, Florida. And it's 18%. Minneapolis is 13th. St. Paul is 7th, because Minneapolis could be Golden Valley, too. Places like that. Shakopee's down there. Oslo. Pretty cool. Oslo. Norway. Yep, because I know people from Norway listen, and hello, people from Norway and Finland. Really awesome. Nice to know. And you got Pinellas Park, Florida. They're 5%. El Cajon, California, 4%. That's a good number of downloads it's showing. But Tampa, Florida, number 1 of all. Tampa, Florida. Hello, Florida. Isn't that cool? And you have the Tampa Bay Lightning, for Pete's sake. Like they're like the best team in the league the last 4 years or so. So I am absolutely I just I'm humbled by it. That means a lot. Yeah, it's just hello and thank you, Florida, for being a big part of things. Sometimes things ebb and flow. Like maybe they're number 1 right now, number 2, number 1, number 4, whatever. But it's really cool. It's surprising a bit. Of course, when it comes to the apps, Apple Podcast is number 1. It's usually going to be iHeartRadio is number 3. Something called Unknown is number 2. I don't know if that's a mix of like Google Podcasts, Android, Google Podcasts, that kind of thing. And then Spotify's down there, 5%, blah, blah. Not important stuff you need to know, but the Pretty crazy, though. Florida? Tampa, Florida. I just, wow, that's cool. So, final thing again, final couple of things. Please write a positive rating for Brave the Wild on Apple Podcasts and other apps out there if you could. And yes, there has been a big jump for Brave the Wild lately, and it appears to be Florida related. Thank you, Florida. God bless you guys. Positive ratings would be nice. It can only help the show. What's the last thing? If you want to call into the show, you can do an audio submission if you like. Pick up your smart device. Every smart device on the planet has free voice recording apps, and you can download free ones off the Play Store or Apple Store or whatever the heck it would be called. And basically, you open it, press record, turn it into a phone call. You press record, treat it like a phone call. Then when you're done, just stop and save it and then share it / email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com. paladinolive@yahoo.com. Yes, it's a lot of fun for sure. So, can't wait to hear from you if you do that, and if you don't, it's okay too. But yeah, Twitter account, #BTWMN is always a great way to get in touch with the show. Obviously, @BraveTheWild, and then #BTWMN. That way we can have some interaction and have some fun. With that said, thank you all very, very much, and we will talk to you in a week, and hopefully the Wild can continue their strong play.